You didn't lose control of the conversation. You strategically let them think they won. It's a pattern called strategic withdrawal, and it explains why the most dangerous people in any room aren't the ones dominating the discussion. They are the ones who stop engaging entirely. Psychology reveals that silence isn't passivity. It's the ultimate form of psychological control. As long as you think quiet surrender is weakness, you'll keep getting steamrolled by narcissists. But flip this switch, and you'll realize your calm detachment is what terrifies them most. They need your reaction to survive. You just stopped feeding them. Here's how this works. Tactic number 1 is controlled emotional detachment. You're not ignoring them. You're strategically withdrawing your emotional investment while staying physically present. This drives manipulators insane because their entire playbook depends on you caring what they think. The moment you stop defending yourself, stop explaining, and stop proving, that's when they lose their leverage. Your emotions were the currency. You just bankrupted the entire economy. Here's what this actually looks like. Someone's baiting you. They say something designed to get a reaction, a snide comment about your work, a passive-aggressive jab at your choices, a setup question that has no right answer. You feel the pull to respond, to defend, or to clarify. That pull is the hook. And the second you bite, they've got you exactly where they want you. Instead, you pause, not because you're weak, because you're choosing not to participate in a game designed for you to lose. You respond with something neutral like, interesting take, or I'll think about that, and you move on. No emotion, no justification, no reaction worth feeding on. To them, it feels like punching fog. And that confusion, that's your power resurfacing. Most people think detachment means coldness. It doesn't. It means you've stopped outsourcing your self-worth to someone who weaponizes it. You're not shutting down. You're refusing to hand over the remote control to your nervous system. Tactic number 2 is strategic ambiguity. You stop being predictable. Manipulators rely on patterns, your triggers, your timelines, your tendencies. They study how you react when cornered, when flattered, when guilt-tripped. They build entire control systems around your consistency. So you disrupt that blueprint. Here's how. Someone asks where you were. You don't lie. You just don't elaborate. I was out. They push. Where exactly? You smile. Just handling some things. No defensiveness. No over-explanation. No feeding their need to track your every move. You're not being secretive for drama. You're reclaiming the right to not be interrogated in your own life. Or they try to lock you into a commitment you're not ready for by saying something like, "So you're definitely coming to the thing this weekend, right?" Old you would have said yes to avoid conflict, or no, and braced for the guilt trip. New you says, "I'll let you know." And then you actually do, on your timeline, not theirs. No apology, no justification, just a boundary delivered like it's the most natural thing in the world. Strategic ambiguity isn't game playing. It's refusing to let someone else script your decisions in real time. You're not being elusive. You're being selective about what you volunteer to people who have proven they'll use it against you. Tactic number 3 is the redirect without engagement. This one's subtle. Someone's trying to pull you into their chaos, a pointless argument, an emotional dumping session, a crisis they created but want you to solve. You could shut it down hard, but that gives them a reaction. Instead, you redirect the conversation so smoothly they don't even realize they've been rerouted. Let's say they're spiraling about something that's not your problem. Can you believe what happened? I mean, this is insane, right? They're fishing for validation, agreement, co-rumination. You don't take the bait. You say something like, "That does sound frustrating. What are you planning to do about it?" You just flipped it. Now the ball's in their court. You acknowledged them without absorbing their energy. Or they're trying to start an argument. You always do this. You could defend. You could list counterexamples. You could explain why that's not true. Or you could say, "I hear you're frustrated. Let's talk when we're both calmer." You didn't agree. You didn't argue. You just refused to play the game on their terms. This tactic works because it doesn't give them the emotional reaction they're hunting for. But it also doesn't give them ammunition to call you cold or dismissive. You stayed civil. You stayed present. You just didn't engage with the manipulation underneath the conversation. Tactic number 4 is slow motion responsiveness. You know how manipulators love urgency. Everything's a crisis. Everything needs an answer now. They text you at midnight expecting an immediate reply. They corner you in person and demand a decision on the spot. They create artificial pressure because rushed decisions are easier to control. So you slow it down deliberately, not out of spite, out of self-preservation. Someone sends a loaded text. You read it. You don't respond right away. Not because you're punishing them. Because you're giving yourself time to think instead of react. When you do respond, it's measured, clear, calm, no emotional bleed through. No words you'll regret later. In person, it's the same principle. They ask a question designed to corner you. You pause. You take a breath. You say, "Let me think about that." They might push. "What's there to think about?" You hold the line. "I just want to give you a thoughtful answer." You're not stalling. You're refusing to be ambushed into a decision that serves them, not you. This drives manipulators wild because their entire strategy depends on catching you off guard. The moment you stop being available for instant emotional labor, their control starts cracking. Your calm, your timing, your refusal to be rushed. That's you taking back the power they tried to steal through pressure. Tactic number 5 is mirroring their energy at half speed. This one's counterintuitive. When someone's being aggressive, defensive, or emotionally intense, Your instinct might be to either match their energy or shrink away from it. Both give them control. Instead, you mirror their emotional register, but at a fraction of the intensity. They raise their voice. You don't yell back, but you also don't whisper. You stay steady, just below their volume. They're frantic. You're focused. They're emotional. You're composed. You're not ignoring their energy. You're refusing to escalate it. And that refusal is what breaks the cycle. It works because manipulators expect one of two things: a fight or a collapse. When you give them neither, when you show up calm but not submissive, present but not reactive, it destabilizes their script. They don't know what to do with someone who won't be baited into chaos, but also won't be steamrolled into submission. This isn't about being robotic. It's about being intentional. You're acknowledging the situation without absorbing the dysfunction. You're matching the moment, not the madness. Tactic number 6 is agreement without compliance. Someone's trying to boss you around disguised as advice. You really should do it this way. Old you might have argued why your way makes sense. New you just says, you might be right. And then you do exactly what you were going to do anyway. You didn't lie. You didn't fight. You just didn't hand them authority over your decisions. They think they influenced you. You know you stayed the course. This works in 1,000 small moments when they're micromanaging your time, critiquing your choices, pushing their agenda. You say something vaguely agreeable, and then you live your life on your terms. This tactic is psychological judo. You let them think they won the conversation, so they stop trying to win the war. And you just moved forward completely unaffected by their input. Tactic number 7 is the delayed correction. Someone lies about you, or someone misrepresents what you said, or someone twists a situation to make themselves look better. Your gut says to correct them immediately, publicly, firmly. But here's the thing. Reacting in the moment often makes you look defensive even if you're right. So you wait. You let the lie sit. You let them feel comfortable in it. And then, later, when it's strategic, when you have the floor, when the stakes are clearer, you calmly present the truth. No emotion, no drama, just facts. And because you didn't react in real time, your correction lands harder. It doesn't look like defensiveness. It looks like clarity. This tactic requires patience. It requires trusting that the truth doesn't need to be urgent to be powerful. Most people can't do this because waiting feels like losing. But when you correct someone on your timeline, not theirs, you control the narrative. And that's the entire game. Here's the part no one talks about. None of these tactics are about outsmarting the other person. They're about unvolunteering from a dynamic you never agreed to in the first place. Manipulators don't ask for permission. They just start playing, and they count on you playing back. These tactics aren't reactions. They're refusals. This is the silent shift no one warns you about. The people who needed you anxious, apologetic, over-explaining. They don't survive your calm, not because you hurt them, because you stopped letting them feed off your chaos. And without that, they've got nothing left to control. This isn't about becoming cold. It's about becoming clear. Clear that not every conversation deserves your energy. Clear that some people only value you when you're struggling to prove your value. Clear that the version of you they keep trying to control isn't the version you have to stay. You didn't lose the ability to care. You lost the belief that caring harder would change someone who's committed to misunderstanding you. And that loss, it's not what broke you, it's what freed you. You're not withdrawing because you're weak. You're withdrawing because you finally realized the game was rigged from the start. They weren't listening to win you over. They were listening to find where you'd break. And the moment you stop breaking on command, the entire power structure collapses. You're not the problem that needed fixing. You were the resource that needed protecting. And now you know the difference. Comment understood if this made something click. You're not alone. You can stay connected here if you want more of this kind of clarity.